Travelers to Ancient Egypt. Here we are again with Doodling with Purpose, episode 64. And in this episode, we're going to introduce you to your very first verb so that we can actually start, putting together full sentence structures. Because while adjectives are great and predicates are great and all of that, well, you need a noun and a verb in order to actually express an idea. First, though, let's do a quick review of ideograms. We've talked about this in a couple of the lessons in the past. An ideogram is a symbol, a drawing that actually means something. You're probably most familiar with this if you have a phone and you use emojis. They can mean what they look like. And there were ideograms in lots of ancient languages, including ancient Egyptian, where the sign would actually mean the word that it looks like or the word that it's drawn like. So some quick examples, and to run through them, that we've done in the past. So this is ib, or the heart, which if drawn like, it looks like actually a human heart. Or the arm, which was one of the first glyphs we learned, which is pronounced ah, or really in the back of the throat, ah. Or there's the plan for a house, per, which PR means it is the word house. Or the mouth, R, the glyph R, which means mouth, or the sun, which can be either Ra or Haru. Now, how do you know when they're an ideogram? Well, when there is a stroke mark. A stroke mark under the glyph means that it actually is what it is: a heart, an arm, a house, a mouth, a sun. So if you have something like this, the glyph, which can be translated as Ankh, which means life, but if you were to put a stroke mark under it, instead of being the word for life, well, now you have the word for sandal tie, because it means what it actually is. This is a drawing of a tie on a sandal. So that stroke mark turns it into an ideogram. And then if you're going to write out the full word Ankh, it could be written with the symbol for sandal tie, pronounced Ankh, and then adding the symbol for water, N, and the placenta, Ankh, or K. You now have Ankh. But of course, we remember that there are sound complements in hieroglyphics. So if you have the same sound twice with a single consonant next to a double or triple, you just cancel out the single consonants. They're just there to jog your memory. So now you can just pronounce this Ankh, which means life. So no stroke mark. Adding the stroke mark means it just means sandal tie. Okay, time to jump into verbs. One of the most important parts of any sentence structure in any language, and verbs are the key to learning any language. So here is our first verb, which is sdm, which means to hear. And you're probably saying, well, wait a minute, I'm not familiar with that first glyph. I've never seen it before. Yep, you're right. We have to learn a new glyph. So this is the glyph for ear. And specifically, it is a donkey ear. Whether it's attached to Pinocchio or an actual animal, it is still a donkey ear because donkeys were part of Egyptian culture. So here's how we draw it. We're going to start with the tail, which is a square, loop up. So square, loop up, connect, and then do the inside detail. Start with a square on its side, loop up, connect, and then inside detail, which is like a little boat. All right, so by putting these two together, and that it is pronounced, the glyph for the ear, the donkey ear, is sudum. So this would be sudum plus M, another one consonant sound you already know. And as we just noted, when you have a one consonant sound next to a triple consonant sound, what do? Well, we cancel out the single consonant, which makes this sudum, not sudum. Sudum means to hear. So yes, you have the ear glyph next to the owl. If we were to put the glyph for he, which is the horned viper that we learned a week or so ago, now it is he hears. So to hear is the verb, but by putting the he after it, it would literally be hears he. But in English, you would say he hears. Or if you use the folded bolt of cloth, which is the word for she, after it, you would have sudum, she hears, or hears she, if you were going to be literal. but we'll make it easier in English to say she hears or he hears. And this will work with any of the pronouns that you learned. All right, so now we know a new glyph. We've learned the glyph for donkey ear, which is sudum, and we've learned how to hear something and to say he hears, she hears, it hears, they hear, I hear. Practice all of those, and we'll keep going. We'll add some more verbs, and we're going to just plow through this, and soon you'll be talking just like an Egyptian on your trip to the pyramids. If you like this series and this video, please do give it a like, because it tells YouTube to share it with other people, and that's kind of the whole point. We like people to learn stuff for fun on the internet. And what's more fun than doodling with purpose? See you next week.